Alright, originally I think this video was going to be a conversation about the pros and cons, the good and the bad of the game. But after Season 1 dropped, I just kind of lost all stamina for the game as I was more aware of the direction that it was going with the Battle Pass and the Battle Royale and the guns being locked into the Battle Pass. And I was also kind of exhausted at that point. I have 115 hours. It's a pretty good run for a modern AAA game to drop in terms of playtime. But it's just exhausting at this point from the skill-based matchmaking. So I think that's kind of where the conversation is going to go, instead of being this kind of like, well, there's this mechanic and then there's that. And, you know, instead of doing that kind of thing, it's more of a, I'm just kind of burnt out on the game because they designed it in a way that does not allow you to play it for as long as I would like from a Battlefield. Because I put thousands of hours into Battlefield 4, hundreds if not thousands into 1. I guess that's kind of what this is about. My definition of Battlefield is very different from the games that we're seeing today. And I think that that's something that players actually failed to do when this game got announced and the hype started building, was fail to define what Battlefield really is. Because people were saying, oh, we don't want those silly skins, and we're like, we're pretty sure we don't want the crazy movement. But if you ask me, it's really still there. I know they've just fixed the vaulting, but or like the Mario jumping, they're calling it, where you just fling up into the air randomly when you like climb onto stuff and whatever. But the sliding is still there, and you're extremely accurate while you do it, and it doesn't feel right. So I thought I would define my definition of Battlefield to clarify what someone might mean when they say like they want it kind of realistic, but not to a point where it's like a mil sim. So okay, here it is. Aesthetic realism meets a casual, steady-paced, large-scale FPS with a mix of defined infantry classes and vehicles, in objective-based game modes, and dedicated and player-owned servers with no skill-based matchmaking. That is not something that I would think I would have to add at the end of that. And the way that old server browsers worked in Battlefield, you couldn't even allow skill-based matchmaking. But it's something I'm tacking on because I find it really frustrating. The thing about games that have those servers where you can, you know, return to the same one is not only are you seeing the same players, but you notice that you're getting better at the game, that you're becoming more aware of the maps and the weapons and where enemies might be. Your aim might be getting better. Like, you feel those things when you play Battlefield 4 or 1, but you do not feel it when you play a game like this where it has skill-based matchmaking and the lobbies just get harder and harder. And then trying out new guns is less fun, or doing anything new. I like to run around with a knife and C4, and that's just like not an option when everyone has hyper awareness because I'm in the unemployment lobbies. I don't run meta builds. Everyone else does at the matches I'm in. And they just sit on sites and they watch corners, and it's just like, this is not what I want. This is a more casual game. There was no skill-based matchmaking before. I'm a goofy guy. Like, yeah, my aim is good, my awareness is good, but I'm just trying to enjoy the way that I want to enjoy it in the moment, which means that I don't care for meta loadouts or hardcore strategy. I just like to mess around in this big sandbox essentially and fight people, and it just doesn't feel like that anymore. But anyways, let's break down the definition so we can kind of get to what I meant by all of that. So when I say aesthetic realism, I'm talking grounded skins, camos, weapons, gadgets, and maps. I know Battlefield likes to lean a little into the futuristic side with some technology that is theoretical and might not exist, but also might be seen in the army to the next 4-ish years. That's fine. But yeah, in terms of aestheticalism, we're talking about the skins. That's where that comes in. It's aesthetic, right? Visually, the game is grounded. It doesn't mean it's realistic in the sense that it's playing like Squad or Hell Let Loose or something. It doesn't mean that. Casual meaning it's easy to pick up and there's no crazy learning curve, right? Like, you start running around, you see a guy, you shoot him with your gun, you're having fun. Like, it's that simple. I don't think this really lacks that. Because it's skill-based matchmaking, it starts relatively easy as long as you've played, an FPS before, but it definitely gets to a point that it shouldn't. Steady-paced, this is a main problem with the game I have. Steady-paced meaning reasonable movement speed, movement options, as well as respawning about 10 seconds after death, balanced time to kill, opportunity to punish enemy for spawning or being revived directly in front of you, as that happens a lot, and map flow allows for that frequently due to the fact that there's a lot of like tight alleys and the map size themselves are just really small. Also, proper distance between objectives and slow vehicle respawns. Vehicles respawn really fast, and the distance between objectives isn't that crazy because the maps are so small. So there's a lot of just running into walls of enemies and people just appearing out of every corner and window. It's exhausting, you know. Slower gameplay. There's a healthy balance with Battlefield, right? Battlefield, I wouldn't describe it as a slower game, but it's definitely too fast here, like an older Battlefield. I've been playing a lot of Hell Let Loose because it's just been so much more fun. It's a slower paced game. There does tend to be a lot of walking around trying to get from point A to B if you know your garrisons aren't up or anything. But the slower paced game is the more rewarding one, and Battlefield had a really healthy balance between like respawn time, and the only thing is what it never was able to do was have squad mates not spawn in front of enemies. That always has been a thing. I don't know why they don't try harder to fix that. It's a recurring issue. But a huge thing I have a problem with, speaking of pacing, is defibrillator rezzing, which in older Battlefields there was a workaround, right? You get revived in Battlefield 3. That makes you pull out your pistol. So you're on the ground prone with your pistol. So you have to choose. If I am in danger from getting res, do I shoot at the guy with my pistol? Or do I switch weapons? Or do I throw a grenade? Battlefield 4, you get res. You have to choose the option. Accept revive or deny it. And then, even when you accept it, I'm pretty sure you still have to pull out your gun. And then you can start shooting. Battlefield 6 did not do that, however. They just went, okay, whip out your gun and fire 30 rounds into a guy. It's really not great, and it affects the flow of the game to see a dead body in the street instantly back to life, mag dumping the guy because you know when you die you know where the guy is that killed you, so instantly you're getting revenge as soon as you get res. It's just a terrible system. It's like a huge red flag for me. Let's see, large scale FPS, meaning 32 versus 32, because obviously they tried a different number in 2042 and it did not work out, with a healthy mix of vehicles while also offering space for snipers and vehicles to roam, while having accessible structures, cover, and set pieces that make maps feel large. The bigger maps in this game, that aren't even that big, do not feel large, and that is a failure of map design. It is a failure for enough cover, for enough accessible structures. A lot of structures are really hard to get onto the top of, so like if someone jumps out of a helicopter, they can put down a spawn beacon, and then they got, you know, their teammates spawning in as recon, because now it's on assault for the spawn beacon. And now there's a full, you know, 3 or 4 guys on a rooftop you can't access. It's not a new problem in Battlefield, but a lot of the structures in these in Battlefield 6 are not even that tall. They'll be like a few floors tall, and yet still you can't access them. It's just kind of weird. There's some buildings. I think probably the best example of this is New Sobek City, where the map is either you're on a rooftop sniping down on people, or you're on the ground and you're getting shot by people on rooftops, and like that's the whole map. Snipers should have the chance to be able to snipe at people, but there needs to be cover on the ground, and there needs, oh god, I don't know why I have to explain that, but define infantry and vehicle classes, meaning classes all offer different weapons and gadgets that round squads out, deal with most situations that allow you to ID an enemy class so you know what type of weapons and gadgets they can threaten you with. This is a big issue. Now I know in Battlefield 4 or something, you could say, well, you know, you could play recon and you can still have a shotgun. That's not really the issue. The issue here is that everything is open weapon. They pretty much removed closed weapons. So that was like false advertising really for this game. Is that they're like, oh, it'll still be an option. Hit it during the beta, and removed it during gameplay release. It's just not a thing. I haven't even been able to play it. I don't know where it is. I think it's gone. You can't do that anymore. You can hardly even ID what character is. Now with the like battle pass thing out, there's a skin you can equip to all 4 classes on either team. So yeah, being able to figure out what enemy type you're even looking at is already gone. So define infantry is gone. Define vehicles. Now what do I mean by that? I mean IFVs are currently the best vehicle at shooting down aircraft. Forget anti-tanks, forget well, you know, it's probably, you think anti-air tanks would be the best at it, but no. And then M1 tanks are even better at shooting down air than anti-air tanks as well. And the anti-air tanks aren't even bad at it. It's just that there's no vehicle definition. And also air is bad is really another thing I'm trying to say. But it's true though, IFVs are busted. At least they removed the MR missile, I guess, but you know, that's a band-aid on a much bigger problem. They're missing, you know, missiles are still flying through flares. It's a mess. It's a complete mess. Infantry fighting vehicles should specifically be good at fighting infantry. Main battle tanks should be good against armor. Anti-air tanks should be good against air. Like, that's how it should work. It doesn't, because IFVs are busted. Their TOW missiles and their MR missiles, and main battle tanks have the guided shells and whatnot. Like, it's ridiculous. TOW missiles are a huge problem. I want to get to that for sure. Objective-based game modes in dedicated and player-owned servers with no skill-based matchmaking, meaning Conquest, Breakthrough, Rush, and Escalation, are the Battlefield game modes. They provide a mix of infantry and vehicle combat with objectives. And I'm not saying older Battlefields didn't have Team Deathmatch, but I have never really been a fan of those game modes, and it's not really why I play Battlefield. And these bigger modes are the ones that I think most people do come to Battlefield for. Dedicated and player-owned servers are the heart of the community of Battlefield. You get to play the same servers, the same people. They provide longevity to the game because with the cheaters inevitably ruining all of the official DICE servers, admins are able to ban cheaters on player-owned servers. It's not a perfect system with, you know, some admins abusing their power or mistake skilled players for cheaters, and you know, if they just don't like you, they'll remove you, or if the server's full and they want to make space for themselves, they'll just kick a random guy. But it really beats the alternative of loading into a dead server or servers filled with cheaters because they're official servers after years of release. Also, dedicated servers mean no skill-based matchmaking. AAA devs hate this one simple trick. Battlefield 6 has disappointed me in every way. Infantry, ground, air, map design, progression, skill-based matchmaking, open weapons, destruction, you name it. None of it really hits the nail on the head the way Battlefield 4 did. Objectives are horribly designed. A lot of them are just open, flat, empty fields. All the maps are actually just similar to that. But the objectives themselves need to be in locations where you can have cover and you don't get shot from the rooftops. Objectives should be like an interesting place that, you know, potentially actually want to like defend it. A lot of objectives are not that. I don't understand why so many are just flat, empty squares with no cover, and then above them is all this high ground to be able to shoot anyone and punish them for actually trying to play the objective. It's really questionable. Anti-tank weapons in general, so RPGs fly too fast. Still, the problem I had since the beta. TOW missiles are really easy to correct on the fly, as you know, you think they would be, but TOW missiles are too maneuverable. They're too effective. They should do a lot less damage if they're going to keep that kind of level of maneuverability and turn radius. The anti-air turrets and spawns in general, especially for air vehicles, do not protect anyone. They're often open, flat, empty, have one anti-air turret that really does not punish enemy air vehicles for entering your airspace, will only shoot down projectiles flying into your spawn if it goes in proximity to the turret itself rather than the actual zone on the map, and doesn't have a very high vertical ceiling. Speaking of high vertical ceilings, Stingers have unlimited vertical range, so even if you fly at the top of the map in a jet, you will still be locked onto, and on top of all the other mechanics in the game that allow you to shoot down jets like they were made out of paper, that's a horrible mechanic. Often when you fly close to the ground, it doesn't prevent the low altitude locking. You still get locked onto. Designating's too effective. Painting, I don't even know the difference between the two. That's part of the reason that missiles go through flares, is because of that system. I don't think that's intentional design. It's just the way it works. It's really frustrating. And it also just, there's no balance to it of like, well, if I look at this vehicle with my binoculars, that missile will hit it and then he'll be dead and there's nothing he can do. I truly believe TOW missiles need to do like half damage or less. RPGs need to be at least halved in speed, probably down to a third of their speed. Designating and painting should just be fully removed as a mechanic. Helicopter spawns need to be much further back so that way enemy air vehicles can't destroy them on spawn. You can get killed while trying to take off. You'll often be designated before you take off. The vehicle might even be designated before you've gotten into it. Air radar needs to exist, that way people can't just show up and destroy you. Air vehicles have so little health and so quick time to kill, even on each other, so air vehicles really need air radar to prevent someone from just showing up and killing you, because it rewards people guarding enemy spawns. Because they added this new thing to be more like Call of Duty, where you spawn on the ground with your whole team on your side of the map, and then you do a goofy animation like you're pretending to be tactical with your squad. Vehicles all spawn in front or around your team in your spawn at the start of a match, and if people want to get into the helicopter and they're not closest, they will RPG it and then redeploy to try to get it first. So probably just remove that and allow people to spawn in the menu and the map to just deploy directly into vehicles, because that's a really annoying thing that happens way too often. I also had someone in one of my streams while I was playing with Dale, I had someone block the spawn for a helicopter by putting jeeps where the helicopter would spawn, preventing it from it. So then I ran over to move the jeeps, and then he instant got in it because I had to be on the ground removing it. And so the second it popped up, he was in the redeploy screen waiting for it to respawn. He got it. So, you know, this game is not really designed around people being as anti-fun as possible. They just haven't put enough thought into it. And they're adding these new systems to be more like other shooters, and they're not considering the damage that it's doing, and it's creating problems like this. I don't know. I think at this point, you know, that's the main core of the idea, and at this point it's just going to be some rambling. There's a really good chance that when you fly in a helicopter, eventually you're going to get hit by an RPG. Like, it's just bound to happen. But if you get shot down before then, it's because it's a tow missile or an MR missile, but those are gone right now, so that's good. It's just such a bummer. It's very arcadey that way, where vehicles respawn really quick, but it's also very easy to destroy them. It's not fun, but it is the way it works. And structurally, I don't think they have the potential to fix this game. I don't think the maps will get bigger. Maybe some of the newer ones will be, but the base maps need to be good in the Battlefield game. That's a given. Gunplay it's okay. It's not great. They made the bloom a lot worse since the beta. They're slowly reverting back to the way it was in the beta because it felt a lot better. Gun balance isn't great. Weapons don't have any range. That's another thing, is like, can they even add bigger maps? Because they design every, I mean, you know, you could rework the guns, but guns have crazy damage fall off from like a really short distance, like Call of Duty or something. So they would have to rework how weapons work. Snipers, I think, are overpowered. They have, like, I hit the sweet spot all the time on chest shots and get 100 damage off all the time. Maps don't have enough, like, verticality and cover to them to even warrant needing snipers to be that good. Like, you can make it headshots only. It would make the game a better game, I believe. I think bullet travel time's too fast for sniper rifles. Glint isn't noticeable enough, especially when with that attachment that lowers it even more. It's just like, you can name it with a sniper, and it's probably an issue. I mentioned destruction being disappointing. That's because there's really no functionality to the destruction. You can destroy walls of buildings. It looks cool. That's it. Battlefield 4, you could knock down entire buildings. You could have evolution, progression. Weapons are locked in the... They're not locked, but they're in the battle pass, so you have to do them. And guess how you get most of the points in the battle pass? Playing the battle royale. So, have fun getting those guns if you don't like battle royales. I tried the battle royale itself. I thought it was very mid, but I'm also not a battle royale player, so I don't know. Dale played it with me. He also agreed that it was mid. I didn't see it doing anything special. It didn't feel unique or different in any way. Maybe just the fact that it is in a World War II setting, like the original attempt at it, Operation Firestorm, will allow it to be a little more popular. But I still don't really see where that can go. Maybe, you know, I'm not saying it's going to be not successful. It probably will be lucrative, but it's not really the direction I wanted a Battlefield of all games to go. I still think sliding should be removed. And I've had no drive to play the campaign of Battlefield 6. I've started the campaign of Battlefield 6 3 times and just been completely uninterested in just like this really boring generic story with like no memorable characters. And it's like people were saying, they're like, woo, the campaign looks mid, but the multiplayer's gonna be good because that's what that means. And it's like, well, I actually really like the campaign of Battlefield 4. I think it was really good. And I don't know what they're talking about. And, you know, if one side of something is bad, that doesn't mean the other side of it's going to be good. Like, there's no balance to it. Like, if the campaign is bad, that means the heart of it is bad. Story is the heart of it. And if that's not good, what does that say about what the rest of it's going to feel like? A lot, I would argue. I don't know. I'm not here to review this and give it like a 7 out of 10 or something. That seems kind of high, I guess. But, I don't know. I guess the core of it's just that it's disappointed me in every way, and I'm already burnt out of it. And I am going to stick to playing Hell Let Loose when I feel like playing a shooter. And they announced like a Vietnam game, so that'll be really cool, because I think I haven't been able to play Rising Storm 2 in a while. I think that the servers might be something going on with those, because I haven't been able to get into that. But yeah, that's why I haven't really been like streaming it more or posting more videos. I probably will in the future. I want to keep giving this game chances. I know it will keep disappointing me, but I do have faith that maybe they'll polish the air combat a little bit, or like the air vehicle balance a little bit over time. But you know, I can always load back into a Battlefield 4 match or even Battlefield 3. And there's always unofficial projects for even older ones to keep those alive, which is cool. And I was thinking about it, you know, and something I always wanted to try was 2142, the really futuristic one, because it's not one I have been able to play. And I think that might be the space to do your crazy movement stuff. I think that might, you know, if you want to be a little more like Titanfall with it, like, and if it's going to be a modern game with your flying aircraft carriers, you know, that's where you can be like grappling hook and weird movement mechanics and, you know, sliding. Like, if you want to go all out there, like, I think that's probably fine if there's mechs running around and people are using invisibility and stuff. Like, I don't have a problem with that in that setting. It's just when modern shooters exist, when you're running around with a 100, 200 round LMG and you're like quick turning at people as you're sliding around corners to gun them down with like no recoil or no spread on it. And then they're also not being suppressed because that's not a mechanic. Like, oh, it's just so lame. I had the most fun experience in Hell Let Loose the other day where I was in like this small wooden house and this enemy machine gunner started firing into the walls and you could see the bullets coming through the wood, like penetrating through the wood. And the character like just had like full tunnel vision. I could not see until they stopped firing. But yeah, it's really weird that suppression is just like not a mechanic in this game as well. So I don't know. I guess I'll end it on that. Is I miss the FPS games that knew how to be casual. They knew how to have a lot of action and unique qualities to them. They didn't conform to the modern Fortnitification of games with their battle passes and their skins and their this and their that, their battle royales and all those, you know, good words the executives throw out and make sure all the people that have creative ideas get forced into making instead of an actual good game like they used to. Oh, and speaking of all of that, you know, Embark X Dice devs, by the way, just dropped their new game, our creators, somewhat recently, and, you know, that's been wildly popular. It still does follow the past format, and it's not a battle royale, but it's an extraction shooter. But, you know, it's always nice to see X Dice devs doing cool stuff, you know, with their actual creative, unique ideas. This is just a husk of what was, I guess. And I'll end it there. If there's any footage left, great. If not, I might have to loop it. But I think there probably is because there's a decent amount of it. Oh, you know, something else I should mention too is that the only way I really have fun, and the only way I've had fun in this game since like 40 hours in Battlefield 6 is playing with other people. I mean, duh, like, yeah, of course that's more fun. But partially because my lobbies are so brutal that if I play with them, it makes it a little easier. It makes it harder for them, I think, but I get to play with people who are not in my like skill-based level, so it's actually like a normal match. It feels kind of like a normal match. But if I play alone, it's just complete hell. So that's the minor solution I have to that. I'm curious to know what you think and feel. Feel free to share your experiences and balance change ideas in the comments. I've enjoyed a good amount of the game. I don't want you to think that it's been all just like frustration and the whole time. There's a reason I put, you know, 114 hours into it so far, and I'll probably continue to play every once in a while. Part of what's so upsetting, though, is the changes that they've made are often the things causing all of the problems. It didn't exist until now, until the change. Maybe my solutions aren't perfect, but I believe they would be a strong step in the right direction. My diagnosis of what makes this game exhausting, however, I do trust. Thanks for watching.
Freddy!